The second option in this course, I provide you with this open statistics book. So this book has almost all the content, almost all the topics that we are going to cover in the course. So you can also use this free book. You have all the options under this. So we are not going to use any connect material or any assignment or any task on connect. So we don't need to subscribe any connect thing or any connect resources. Only the book we need for our study, that is most important. Or else you have this free open book that you can, if you can align with the course, it's statistics is similar, you know, it's a universally same whether we study in India or any part of the world. So statistics does not change. It is same. The concepts, principles are almost same. So if you even don't buy the book, no problem. You can refer this book, you can refer the material, you can refer, if you can clearly understand what I'm trying to say, if you clearly understand what is there in the slides, in the videos, then it is perfectly all right. So this is the book part. Now let me go further. So the assignments have been divided into 3 parts. Let me go over there. So every module have a, a discussion. So if you can see, this is a week 1, it is important you contribute. So what is the nature of the discussion? At least you need to post your one original post and you need to reply at least 2 other posts. This is minimum requirement. So if you keep doing every week, six discussions are there. Assignment, this is the word assignment, means this you have to submit in Word document, means you just do analysis, you do your assignment on Word, you use Minitab application, put everything on Word and upload here at Canvas. So this is the second assignment. The third part I have given here, the quizzes. Quizzes are for your own knowledge, means it will not, it has grade, but you know, it will not be counted towards your final grades. So I'm just showing you here how, hope you can see. So the 6 discussions are divided, are of 40% weightage, means discussion has 40% weightage. This has 50% weightage, which is Word document assignment. And the quizzes are for your own knowledge or own knowledge testing. And this has 0 weightage. At the end, we will have the final exam, which is 10% of weightage, which will cover topic 1 to topic 5, means week 1 to week 5, because you will not have enough time at that time to finish module 6. So the assessment will be based on discussion, the Minitab assignments, and final exam. And this is, you know, this is universally same in Eastern Washington University, so I don't need to explain about this. Yeah, there's also one thing which 15% penalty is there if, okay, The fifth, you know, due to some reason, any situation you are not able to submit on time, only emergency circumstances are considered, but 15% late penalty is imposed on daily basis. So this is the policy that we must keep in mind. However, I'm not giving any assignment that can take more than 1 hour to finish. So most of the assignments will be 1 hour, or it will not take more than 1 hour. So it totally depends upon understanding the concept and understanding the subject matter, and then you can finish very easily. Other things are very simple. Here the deadlines are there. Every assignment is due on Monday night, Monday 11:59 p.m. So here you can see week 1, which is due by next Monday, May 18. The last one is also due by June 22. However, the class is over by June 21st. So I am going to change this June 22 to June 21st, because the quarter or the term will finish by June 21st. So, however, I will not consider this 6-week assignment, 6-week content in final exam. So final exam will be available for 2 days, June 20 and 21st, which is Saturday and Sunday. And you need to find your 2 hours to complete this exam. It will be, it will be from chapter 1 to 9. I will exclude the chapter 12. And this is what we are going to cover in our course. Basic introduction of statistics. What is data? What is the scale, sampling method, survey design concept? So I'm going to cover briefly today about this first module so that you can learn very quickly. Second thing, I'm going to give you some videos that I recorded, and also some handouts so that you can do it very quickly. We will meet next Monday also for like less than 1 hour. Next Monday at 6 o'clock, means every Monday we will meet at 6 o'clock, so that if you have any question, you have any doubts or any issue related to learning, we can solve. And I can also give some brief overview. The third week is about, here the second week is about describing data visually and numerically. And the third module is about probability and probability distribution. The module 4 is about sampling distribution and confidence interval. 5 is about hypothesis testing, and simple regression, which is week 6. So this is what we are going to cover. Another important challenge is here, Minitab. Minitab, why we are using Minitab? So here we have the answer for that. This is the answer. That, if you see Fortune organizations, Fortune 1000 organization, most of them use Minitab for their data analysis, different kind of production data, customer data, and to know insight about the customer, about the production, about logistics, about different business processes, different business activities. Therefore, Minitab is very widely accepted in industry. And these are some of the names they are using. Even Microsoft has all their softwares. However, Microsoft is also using Minitab for their development process or different analysis. So therefore, we are using Minitab. And if you look into the different research areas or research about the market share and job market for Minitab, you will find the importance of Minitab. Minitab, how we get the Minitab? Let me go over that quickly, and then I will start some. If you can see under resources here, how to access how to access Minitab. And you can see clearly here, this is Eastern Washington University has subscribed for everyone, every student, every employee, every professor. And here you can download for Windows here, for Mac. And this is the license, don't forget to use the license. This is the license, because what happens, people install, they use, how do we do? This is the option. So the license file is right at the bottom. Don't forget to do this. Otherwise, you will, or contact help desk of EWU. Otherwise, it will be installed for 30 days only. So it is complete install. Some people are having the problem because of Mac, because I think Mac version of Minitab does not have all the options that Windows one is having. For that purpose, you have another option to access Minitab, and I'm just going to demonstrate you. And virtual lab VMware. Hope you can see my. So this is called virtual lab access. And here, this is the how do I access virtual lab? The complete information is given right there. Due to some reason, you are using Chromebook or some other, computer. So here, once you install this VMware, once you follow the steps, and here under this, it is taking bit time, but it is always useful. So if you can see, I'm on my virtual computer, and on the can you see at the bottom, I have all the softwares subscribed by EWU. Here I have Minitab. So here also you can see all the softwares. You have Minitab, you have a MATLAB, you have MS Project, you have SAS, you have SPSS. So SAS, Stata, you have also here IBM SPSS, means most of the softwares are right here. So even in future, not only this course, you need any other course and any other software, you can go here. Most important thing, when you do any assignment on virtual lab, don't forget to do this net storage. You can save here your any document. Let's say I'm just going to open one. Let's see, I'm going to do one document, quick document. So in case if you come across any technology issues, you can always use virtual lab. It is taking a bit time. So what so I'm just doing 1, 2, 3. Save as. Desktop and just bookmark. And then I'm just closing this. My connection is showing some instability. Anyway, I can see this, my work has been saved here. However, the moment I log out from this virtual lab, this will be erased. It will no longer be available on my desk, on my desktop. What you need to do, you need to always put your work here on net storage. So this is your net storage. Every student has a dedicated net storage from Eastern Washington University, and you can do right here. So you can drag and you can put your work, you can save your work right here. So you don't get any problem related to accessing your work later at later stage. So this is, it has, I think, 10 GB of storage. So it is more than sufficient for you to use this. Always use this to keep your work here. Okay. So I'm just going out of this, my virtual lab. Okay. Actually, here I have some, getting started file about Minitab study card and all. So these are all about, you can just review, but I will be also explaining every week what we need. Okay. Any question related to the syllabus, related to basic information? If you have, you can type in chat box and I will try to reply. Okay, here is the question.
I just saw you can use Minitab 17.
Yeah, you can use also Minitab 70, doesn't matter. But you are getting free Minitab 19. So yeah, it doesn't matter because it doesn't add more features in 19, little bit upgradation, little bit things are there. So does not matter. You can use any Minitab version if you have with you. That's perfect.
Okay, thank you.
So if you have Minitab 19, if you have Minitab 19, will the connect to net storage be available on Minitab 19?
If you are using virtual lab, you can always store your documents on but the Minitab 19 can be installed on your PC, on your personal computer. So you don't, and also you can have the access of Minitab, the net storage also. Yeah, both the things are available.
Okay.
Lockdown browser, I will inform you about that because I made little changes. So I will inform you. You don't need to worry about lockdown browser. So you will have Minitab also. Net storage is always available with you. Means being a student of Eastern Washington University, you have this privilege to have net storage. Okay. So this is about basic information. The very first part, let me start with. So a couple of concepts are very important here. Chapter 1 is about so this is why do we study statistics? What is statistics? These two important things we must know. So the statistics definition is right here. Collecting, organizing, analyzing, interpreting, and presenting the data is called statistics. So it has 5 steps in order. First, collecting the data, organizing, then analyzing, interpreting, and presenting the data. The second part is there are 2 types of statistics. One is descriptive statistics, and second is So basically, these are all theoretical part that you can read. Here, all about this. There are two types of statistics. One is descriptive statistics and second is inferential statistics. So look into this. What is descriptive statistics? Descriptive statistics where you are describing the data. In inferential statistics where you are going to generalize based on the sample. You are going to generalize the information based on the sample. So you take the sample from population and you generalize or you make results about or you make decision about the population. So that is called inferential statistics. So these two important things are there in chapter 1, which is up to here. Now in part 2, data and sampling, two important concepts are here. One is discrete and one is continuous. What is discrete data? What is continuous data? I'm running a little bit fast. If you don't have urgency, I can slow down a little bit. So what is discrete and what is continuous? Any idea?
No.
Discrete would be integer values, I would guess. Like 0, 1, 2, 3.
Exactly. So discrete, like, can we say in my class, we have 17.4 students? Not possible. Can I say in any parking lot, there are 20.8 cars are there? Or 31.2 cars are there? No, we can only say 1, 2, 3, 4 or 0 means only integers we can say, or full number we can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, So those numbers are, so discrete numbers are those which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It doesn't have any decimal value, or like I said in my class, 20.8 students, not possible. Either it could be 20 or 21. So discrete is whole number or integer, you can say. What is continuous? The continuous is any decimal value can be possible. Customer satisfaction like 85.2%. Waiting time is like 10 hours, 2 minutes. So thank you, Nancy. So continuous is any possible value, even in decimal, that can be continuous. So whenever you make decision, you must think about what kind of information is expected. Like if I ask how many, if you come across the sample size for doing any research should be 614.2. This is coming based on calculation, 614.2. Make sure you just give the answer. It should be 615, not 614.2, because the responses can be 614 or 615. So when you must keep this idea always when you are going to answer this kind of information, this kind of explanation. So always use discrete. And then there are categorical data, like you can name, you can categorize the car, you can categorize the person, male, female, you can categorize the car, you can categorize different other things, and that can be coded. Like car is 1, truck is 2, SUV is 3. Male is 0, female is 1. So there's a categorical data that can be coded in numbers. There's a numerical data that can be, or quantitative data that can be discrete, that can be continuous. So this is very important concept we must understand, particularly related to discrete. Then time series data, cross-sectional data that you can easily understand. The COVID situation is going on every day. Hundred of thousands of cases are adding every day across the world. So right from December or January till now, based on daily basis, how many cases are reported, that is time series data. Because one on time scale, on time, we are measuring some data. We are reporting, we are collecting the data, that is time series data. Cross-section, when you have two variables observed together, that is cross-sectional data. So US GDP from 2010 till 2020, you can see the GDP against 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 till now. Cross-sectional, sales volume versus account receivable. So two variables, they plot together. That is cross-sectional data. Now, very, very important concept, and based on this concept, we have first assignment. What is the scale of the measurement or measurement level? So very first is nominal data, then second is ordinal data, the third is interval data, and fourth is ratio data. I hope some of you might know. Nominal data is any name, any category. So that is nominal data. Any name, any category, that can be nominal data. Or what is ordinal data? Ordinal data is nominal data plus one extra quality ordinal data has, means ordinal data has this quality plus additional quality, that if you can arrange that nominal data in order, that is ordinal data. So for example, here AA, triple A is the highest rating given by Moody. AA, then you are going to arrange this rating from here to here, highest to lowest or lowest to highest. Means if you can arrange the data, nominal data in order, that is going to be ordinal data. Means ordinal data has the properties of nominal data plus it can be in order. What is the interval data? Interval data has the properties of nominal data, ordinal data, but the difference between 2 points or 2 categories or 2 are meaningful, means that difference is equal. So here, for example, in ordinal data, AA or AAA, what is the difference between these two? We don't know. AA to A, we don't know exactly how much difference is there between AA, but here the difference is equal between let's say 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5. That is interval data. And another example, Likert scale is one of the example that we always fill out the survey, rate your opinion on customer satisfaction. What is your satisfaction level on 1 to 7 point scale? One is least, 7 is highest. That is interval data, because 1 to 2 is exactly the same difference than 3 to 4. Similarly, a temperature is also interval data. minus 10 degree Fahrenheit to minus 20 degree Fahrenheit has exactly 10 difference than 20 degree Fahrenheit to 30 degree. So interval data, Likert scale is an example, and the temperature. What is the ratio data? Ratio data is always, it has all the properties, but it has meaningful zero. Let's say if I say what is my weight? My weight is, let's say, 85 kg. 85 kg with reference to zero means what is your CGPA or GPA? Your GPA is like 3.8 with reference to zero. What is your age? 22.3 years with reference to zero. So what is the weight of the computer? 2.5 lb with reference to zero. Means any, what is your salary? 90,000. How you are getting this 90,000? With reference to zero. So ratio data is where you have zero reference point. And so do you understand all these four concepts? Because based on this, we have the very first assignment. You can type here. And let me show you. I hope you can see this. So look into this. Okay, let me start with here. Okay, can you see this? Can you see this Minitab screen? Here serial number is not the one. What about ZRE? ZRE score is which type of data? Which type of label? Is it ordinal, nominal, ordinal, ratio, or interval? Which one is this? ZRE? Exactly, ratio data. GRE is ratio because GRE score is with reference to zero. What about similarly TOEFL score, TOEFL score? What about university rating? Here university rating is given on 1 to 5, 5-star university, 4-star university, 3-star university. Like Harvard University is 4-star, 5-star. Oxford is 5-star, Cambridge is 5-star, Stanford is 5-star, MIT is 5-star. Some are 3-star, some are 4-star, some are 1-star. So what will you say about university rating? Exactly, this is interval because correct. What about research and non-research university? Here 0 is non-research university, 1 is research university. What will you say about research? This is what kind of data? Because this is just codified, means non-research university is given 0 and research university is given 1. So Is it nominal or it's the ordinal? This is basically two category, like you have seen male and female. Similarly, research oriented and non-research oriented. So this is nominal. Nominal. So there are many cases here. I mean, I have, many situations here which you can see. And now I hope you can do the assignment very easily. After this, so this is all the example, everything is right there. Sampling concept, you just need to understand this. If you don't understand, let me know, I will explain. So the first thing, what happens here, this is called inferential statistics. What we do, we have a big, I'm trying to explain inferential statistics, big population, and from population we take a sample, we do the analysis of the sample, do the statistical test, and we make conclusion about sample, about population, sorry. We make conclusion about population based on sample. This is called inferential statistics. Like, if we have any disease, we have 8 liter of blood in our body. A lab technician takes only 2 ml to 5 ml blood as a sample from our body. They do the analysis, they give the report to doctor, and doctor, based on the 5 ml of our body blood test, they prescribe the medicine. Exactly the same thing is here. Now I would like to go with these methods about sampling. This is the last thing. There are 7 methods and I can quickly do here. Simple random sample. What is simple random sample? Let me go with explanation here in my new. So simple random sample, let me go with Excel also. So let's say we have 46 students in my class, in this class, BADM 503. I need 10 students. How do I pick them? You have your ID number. Let's say 1 to 46. Rand between, this is the option function. Between 1 to 46, and the first person has been picked up, 35th number person. Now I need 10 of them. And here we got 10 samples. This is called random sampling. 36, 138, 37. And similarly, we have the option in Minitab. Here we go under Minitab. And if you look into the calculation, random data, and here we have the integer. Number of rows, I need 10 people. Store in column, yes. Okay, C1. I will store this in, what is the minimum value? 1, maximum value 46. And right here we get these 10 numbers. So this is called a random sample. Means if you need to get the random sample, you need to use a calculator, computer, or any program in order to get those numbers. What is the systematic sampling? And systematic sampling is very easy. Very first number is, we get very first number using random sampling, and then we take the systematic every kth number. So here we go. Let's say this is the very good, 78 items are here, and we need to get how many? 20 samples. We need 20 sample size. Using systematic sampling, 78 divided by 20, at least, you know, every fourth sample is required. So what we do, we run random sample, and first random sample is coming 2. So first we picked 2, and then every fourth. So 2, 6, 10, 14, 18, 22, 26, 30, and keep going on. And you get this way. This is systematic sampling. The third is, if you don't understand, please stop me. Stratified sampling. That means here you divide into strata or subgroups. The problem, just few minutes more. So what happens? Let's say we have 46, or let's say in general we have 100 students in a class, and if I need to take 20 sample from 100, and I take this sample, and by chance all 20 are female. By chance all samples are female sample. Oh, then it would be a biased, or it would be a partial information, because I will not have the full information, because in our class we have male as well as females. Therefore, first I need to divide this 100 in my 2 groups. Let's say there are 60 male and 40 females. Okay, based on proportion, I need 20 responses from 100. That means how many from 60? I need 12 responses from 60 males, and I need 8 from, in equal proportion, 8 from males, in order to equally proportional. On the basis of proportion, I can represent entire class. So 12 plus 8, 20. So first I divide this in 2 strata. One is male and one is female. So that now I do here the simple random sampling to collect 12 responses. I do simple random sampling to collect 8 responses. Now I have 20 responses with equal proportion. I mean, based on, you know, the proportion that we have in the population, based on equal representation of the proportional values here. And I will not have only female responses, or only female information, or only male. It will be a class information. So these are called strata or subgroups. So this is called stratified sampling. Is it making sense? How do we ensure there is no repeats using a random number? This is a good question. This is a good question. No repeat sample. So there's an option in Minitab, stat, calculate, random, and integer. Or you can, you know, skip the one and you can go for next. So I think this is the integer. Let's say I'm just going to do here on C2. Let's say here 16, 8, 20, 15, 38. Okay, so there's, oh, just a minute. Yeah. Screen. Can you see now? Okay, so let's do here again, calculate random data. We have integer, And I'm just going to do in C3. Okay, I'm just going to do here. Let's say if these are two, let's say 38 and 38. I got these two repeated number here in. What I can go, I can do one more. So what is it called when you take a random sampling but then fit the result to the demographic proportion? Yes, when you are doing inferential. These are inferential analysis is different thing, and the sampling methods are different thing. Chris, I'm going to explain. There are two types of statistics. Stat is two types. One is descriptive statistics. One is inferential. Now in inferential statistics, you take the sample, and how you take the sample. So in inferential statistics, there are sampling methods. There are four random sampling method, and 3 non-random sampling method. Please excuse me, I'm just using my mouse to write this. 3 random sampling method and 3 non-random and 4 random. Is it clear? So this I explained inferential statistics. What is inferential statistics? When you take the sample from population, analyze and conclude about population, that is inferential. Descriptive statistics is when you have a data and you are just doing mean, mode, median, standard deviation. You are doing some charts, pie charts, war charts, histogram and all to describe the data. That is called descriptive statistics. And when you taking the sample and making decision about population, that is called inferential statistics. Now I'm explaining the sampling method. So first is simple random sampling. The second is systematic. The third is stratified, and fourth is clustering. So you ask the question, if repeating, for example, here the 38 and 38 is repeating. Let's take one more next sample, and next one. So suppose here we get again 41. Okay, keep going until you don't get 10 non-repeated numbers in the sample. Is it making sense? Sia? Oh, who asked? Ima, is it clear? Okay. Now fourth option is so this is stratified sampling. Now fourth is cluster sampling. Cluster sampling is two-stage sampling. Two-stage random sampling means basically this is used in geographical data collection. So suppose, let's say Washington state has 12 counties. Here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are 12 counties. Washington, how many? And we need 16 responses. 16. It is difficult to get and cover all the counties. So first stage, out of we would like to know which geographical region we need to select. So here, out of 12 counties, using simple random methods, simple random sampling, this county has been selected, this is selected. Now from each county using simple random sampling, 4 responses are selected. So 4, 4, and now we have 6, 4 plus 4 plus 4, 12 responses from 12 counties. I think these are 12 counties. So this is basically first stage. You are going to randomly select region, and then from each region you are going to randomly select the responses. So this is called cluster sampling. So these are the 4 random sampling method. Now we have 3 non-random sampling method, and which is very simple, which is called judgmental sampling, convenience sampling, and focus group sampling. So what is convenient sampling? Convenient, whatever is convenient to you. If you are going to get the data, okay, of about marketing or about customer satisfaction, you can go to your friends, family, classmates, whoever is on the street where you can find convenient. So that is called convenience sampling, means whatever is convenient to you to get that data, that is, or to get that sample, is convenient sampling. Focus group sampling. Focus group, suppose you are doing any study of how to live 100 plus years of life. What you are going to do? A research 100 plus years of life. Basically, who knows the secret? Only the people, those who are 100 plus year of age. So what you will go? You will go and get the information or get the sample of the people, those who are 100 plus years old. So they are the focus people because your study. Or suppose you are going to do any study on iPhone user. Who are the focus group? iPhone user, because everyone does not have iPhone. So you can just use the iPhone user. You can just target them. Suppose you are doing a study on HIV, HIV related. Who will be? So you will identify only focus group, those who are HIV infected or those who have HIV issues. Those can be the focus group. Judgmental sampling. It is based on the expert opinion. For example, currently, what is the name of the doctor who is in Trump administration? Dr. Fauci. He is the judge. He is the expert of this kind of disease, and he can be the expert to know to tell about anything. What would be the future? How many cases will be there by September? When this problem will be evolved? When this problem will be solved? When this, the expert or very high World Health Organization, they are the judgmental people. Those who are expert, they have the knowledge about the subject. They can tell about. So the judgmental sampling is expert's opinion. Let's say I have for any employer is coming to me and asking me that I give me 10 students from your class for internship in data analysis, because they need data expert, data analyst, and they need 10 interns. So because I taught a class, I know who can do a better job. So I can select this Mr. John, Mr. David, Mr. this, Mr. that, and I can collect based on my expert and based on my knowledge, because I taught them, I graded them, their assignment and everything. I can give 10 students. So that is called judgmental sampling. So basically, this is what I wanted to cover, and these are the important topics, important topics of the first module or first week. If you have any question, please let me know. Any question that you have, please let me know. Most welcome. I will be online most of the Mondays evening. Yeah, these are, slides are right here. Just a minute. So here you can see these are the slides. So every, here, the same principles are also here. I shared also YouTube videos, and this video is recorded. So once we will finish, I'm going to share this also. And next Monday, every Monday, 6 o'clock, I will be online. It is not mandatory to everyone to come, but if you can come, if you have a question, if you have any issue, we can talk. Okay. Yeah, I will be doing briefly. I can go over, Jacob, I can go over briefly each module. So next Monday, you will have module 2 explanation briefly, and we'll talk about your questions and any issues. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. And this is going to be recorded, and this is already, and it will be posted to you. Canvas. Nancy, you can reach me most of the time. I reply as soon as I get the email. So Canvas is the best way to reach me. Okay, bye-bye.